After supporting the PlayStation and buying a lot of games on their platform, they rewarded me with censorship, updates I never wanted or agree with, and supporting less and less Japanese developers. So I decided it's time for me to try out my very first Nintendo Switch. Plus I got an awesome deal for the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu Nintendo Switch version. At first, I didn't want to try the Nintendo Switch console because they were obsessed with protecting their IP. I barely saw any content made for their games, and the ones that I found were mostly fanboys. I'm looking at you, Arlo. Just kidding. I actually love Arlo, and I think he does a great job on making reviews for the Nintendo games, and he criticizes Nintendo a lot. He's a good example of a fan who can love the console and the games, but still criticize it from time to time. That's what we all should do no matter what console or games we love. Because a company is a company, they just want to make a lot of money. And if you don't force them to give you good products, they will try to sell you the most washed up and bad product they can. And if you accept that, you will just get more and more washed up and bad games. Why would they try to make better games if you already pay for the bad ones? For example, I'm a very big fan of Pokemon. I never was a fan of mornings, but I always woke up to see Pokemon in the morning, because that's when it was on TV. I also have a collection with Pokemon stickers from Croissant, where you had to send it to Nintendo or something like that. I don't really remember, but I know I got back a Pokemon toy. But I never got to play Pokemon games. And when I got the Nintendo Switch, I was very disappointed. The Pokemon games didn't evolve at all. Let's compare these two Persona games. Why? Because I also love Persona games, and Personas are like Pokemons, I guess? Well, not really, but whatever. I really see that the Persona games improved a lot. And even if you prefer the story from Persona 3 or 4 over 5, you can still see a big improvement in Persona 5. The game is better in so many ways. The Pokemon games don't really have a big story, an important story. The art in the game is very boring, very non-creative. Compared to Zelda, they tried to do as little as possible, because they knew a lot of people will buy the game just because it's a Pokemon game, and that's the issue. Anyway, I started becoming interested in the Nintendo brand when the people in charge finally decided that it's an extremely idiotic idea to ban Nintendo content and to force content creators to sign a partnership program if you want to make Nintendo content. Nintendo got money from your content, and you basically can't criticize Nintendo no matter what they do. While Nintendo did this, other gaming companies gave free games or even money for people to make content with their games, but Nintendo wanted you to pay them for advertising their games. So, after the boomers at Nintendo realized it was a stupid idea, I finally started to see more Nintendo stuff and I became interested in their games, and I got to see how awesome and fun Zelda Breath of the Wild can be. Then Sony said they support more censorship, while Nintendo said they support all kind of games. So I was even more interested in Nintendo, and I started using the PlayStation less and less. I mean, I still got the games that I love from PlayStation and I have to finish them, but I stopped buying games on the PlayStation. I think I will wait one more year to see if Ghost of Tsushima will come to PC. If not, maybe I will buy it on the PlayStation, but that's all. It's also extremely scummy that they released the Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC only for PlayStation 5. Why? It's the same game, the same graphics. You want me so much to buy a PlayStation 5. How about make it available? It's awesome that most of the games are backwards compatible, but it's impossible to find a PlayStation 5 that's not overpriced. For that money, I can upgrade my PC, and it will last longer, it will load faster, and the graphics and FPS can be twice as good on the PC. So back to Nintendo. Not long after starting supporting Nintendo, I started seeing more and more videos about Nintendo banning stuff they don't agree with. Banning events, banning videos. So it's awesome that you don't censorship games. But the problem is when you start banning and censorship in real life. This is why I stopped watching and supporting Disney. These kind of companies are overprotective with their IP. I understand it's their IP, they can do whatever they want with it, but most of the people just want to show their love for your products and you ban them and censorship them. And also, the law for intellectual property should not exist. It was changed so many times just because Disney paid a lot of money. So many times you cannot improve something or do something creative just because you are blocked by this kind of laws. Some companies even ban you for using their trailers or their ads. What the fuck? You want your trailers and ads to be seen by many people and you ban them because you're obsessed with protecting your IP. Guess what? Many times your IP sucks and people just want to improve it or make it entertaining. And I'm not talking here only about game characters, movie characters and stuff like that. I'm also talking about patents. For example, Namco owned the patent for loading screens since 98. There's also millions of patents that are completely useless and they just block creativity. Or you can be somebody like EA who pays millions so that other people will never be able to make another FIFA game. Why am I saying all of this even if Nintendo has nothing to do with it? Well, for example, Nintendo owns the Pokemon games. Imagine if the fans or other gaming companies had the ability to make a Pokemon game. Imagine how awesome the Pokemon game can be. Many companies, especially the big ones who have a good IP, they don't care to improve that IP. They don't care to make better content. Because using the Pokemon label on a very cheap excuse for a game, it's all they need. Creations like Mickey Mouse and Pokemon and other characters that you love exist because a very creative person created them. Most of them at the time were not famous. Many of them were very poor. But they created something that people loved. And it's very awesome when you finally get a reward for your creativity. Especially when a big company gives you a lot of money. And this kind of stuff is awesome at start. But then that big company takes the thing that you love, uses that creation and label to sell you a cheap and bad product. And even if the creator of the product hates that, it's nothing they can do. They have a contract that they signed when they were happy that somebody will pay them for their hard work. Look at anime, for example. Many times, no money goes to the real creator of an anime. Their product sells 10 and millions of copies, but he gets no money. And who gets all the money? The company that will make you hate everything about that awesome creation. Because they will wash it down, they will copy paste over and over, they will not care about the details. They will not care about the consumers, about the story, about the character. They will just use that IP until people stop buying it. But usually people will still buy it. Look at Disney, for example. They still make Mickey Mouse stuff, but they didn't do anything with Mickey Mouse for a very long time. The last time I saw Mickey Mouse was in Kingdom Hearts and in South Park. And they hate it when people actually create something interesting and creative from that character. Probably because just like FIFA, just like Pokemon, people will find out that they can do better. If one person can take that IP and do something mind-blowing, then why a big corporation with billions can't do anything with their IP? My other big issue in Nintendo is when you buy something, you get some coins. So I don't get discounts, but at least I get some points for buying stuff. Awesome. Until you find out that your points expire really fast. Gold points expire in 12 months and platinum points expire in 6 months. And when you buy a game for $60, if it's digital, you get 300 gold points. That's $3. But if you buy your games physically, you get 60 gold points. That's $0.60. Whatever, you want me to buy only digital. But why does my points expire? I get almost nothing and you even take that away from me. Anyway, now it's almost impossible for me to care for a console. Sure, there will be some games that I will want to play and I will wait for a discount. I have a lot of games that I didn't finish, so I'm okay with waiting. Way too many corporations today insist on telling me what to like and what to dislike. What should I play and watch? So that's the main reason why I will start to wait more. To see if the game is finished, to see if the game is what I want, and to see if they don't do something scummy, like the Final Fantasy VII Remake did, when they released the DLC only for the PlayStation 5. For real, it's the same game. If you watch a comparison between the PlayStation 5 and the PlayStation 4 version, you see no difference. There was no reason to make the DLC only for the PlayStation 5. Anyway, I don't care, I got my copy physically and I resold it. Like I said, I have a lot of games, so I'm okay with not playing Final Fantasy VII Remake DLC. And if it's not coming to PC, I guess I will never play part 2 or part 3 or whatever parts will come out. Like I said, I want companies to give me what I want because I pay for that product. And if you love your product and want the best version of it, you should also do that. I know that most of us don't care about the drama, we just want to play the games that we love. And I understand that and I agree with that. The issue is that those kind of games will disappear slowly. We will get more and more pay-to-win stuff, more loot boxes, more microtransactions, no story, unfinished games, washed up versions of old games. My point is that you should not waste your time with every new game that comes out, only to find out that you were overhyped for a game that's pretty boring, or at most mediocre. I just want corporations to get more competition. The main problem here is that today any idiot with a cell phone and with internet connection can complain on the internet about useless stuff in the games, and for some reason the gaming companies prefer to listen to that person. And you know why? Because most of the people in charge of the social media of the big corporations don't play games. It's usually just somebody who does marketing and nothing more. They have no idea what gaming is, they have no idea what gamers want, but they take way too seriously the stupid people on the internet. People who never play the games. Because if they played games, they will have no time to stay on the internet. So you can take 10 people, make them complain on the internet about how bad the game is and how misogynistic or something like that, and the gaming company will take them seriously. Even if there is thousands of people who play the game and like it and want more. They will still change the game just because those 10 people waste their time on the internet complaining all day. And that's because the consumers are too busy playing the game. This is why I hate more and more corporations. I had a problem with Comic-Con. They had a very important announcement and instead of putting it on their own website, they just post it on Facebook. I don't have Facebook. I was very lucky that my girlfriend has it and she saw their post. And that's not the only company that does that. Most of them depend way too much on the social media websites, and that's really annoying. Because guess what? Most of the people don't use the social media accounts. And most of the people that do have a social media account usually use it for entertainment or interacting with their friends. The problem is that when gaming companies see that their sales are dropping, they think it's because a joke is offensive, there's too much anime titties, too many white people, or not enough diversity. For example, in Assassin's Creed, I don't dislike the game because I don't have a character customization. I don't dislike the game because I don't have the option to play as a male or a female. I'm okay if all Assassin's Creed games had only females. I stopped playing their games because they were boring. They were copy-paste. They started implementing more microtransactions. They forced you to play boring side missions. The story was usually all over the place and very boring. My point is that Sony already does this to their movies, and now they start doing it to the video games. I know Sony has nothing to do with Assassin's Creed, it was just an example. And I used Assassin's Creed as an example because I usually love Assassin's Creed. I mean the old ones. And I think the base story of their game was very interesting. But they don't care about that because they make a lot of money if they just copy paste a lot of games. The faster they finish the game, the more money they make. So why even bother in making a good game? Anyway, I should stick more to the main subject. It's becoming very hard to love a gaming company or a console. Most of the big bosses of these companies have no idea what gaming is. But they see how much money does FIFA make, mobile games, other free-to-play games that have microtransactions and loot boxes, and they just want to copy that. Why make a game for $60 or $70 when you can sell a skin for $1,000 or even more? Just change the colors of a skin, there you go, you have another $1,000. And you just need one guy to do this. You don't even need a whole team. Anyway, let's end this video. I think Sony should fix their problem with censorship. Nintendo should stop being such a boomer. And also, let's talk a little about Xbox. It's not much I can say. We can see now that they are starting to make some changes for the good, I hope. But for now, I don't care about their subscriptions. Also, more Japanese games are coming to PC. So I see less and less reasons to use a console. Especially because the PC gives me more freedom. I can buy my games from different places, I don't pay for online, I have mods that can make a game more fun, and when I decide to upgrade my PC, I don't care about stuff like backwards compatible, because the PC is always backwards compatible. I will never have issues like PlayStation does with CMOS battery. In case you don't know, it's a battery in the PlayStation that I think is the same as the battery on the motherboards on the PC. But the difference is that when that battery will die in the PlayStation 4 or PlayStation 5, you will not be able to play any game. Not even the games on the disc. That's because they have some protection because of the stupid trophies that I don't even care about. Maybe they will fix it, and I hope they will. I hope it will not be a big issue. But if you have a PlayStation 4 and you don't have internet connection when this happens, so you cannot connect to the PlayStation network, from what I know it's impossible to fix the problem. Maybe by hacking the console or something like that. But my point is, I don't have to worry about that with the PC. I have games that are over 16 years old. And guess what? I have no issues playing those games on my new PC. Anyway, this video was supposed to be 5 minutes or 6. Apparently it was longer than I expected. And this is because I care about gaming. When the movie industry changed, I didn't care that much. I stopped watching movies and I became more interested in gaming. But now I see they are trying to do the same thing with gaming. And I'm not talking about the diversity part. Because I started to hate the movie industry for over 10 years. For example, I started hating Disney when they banned a lot of content just because they had Star Wars in their title and they used a few images or very short clips, and they started to copy paste their movies. Their stories were really lame, and now it's even worse. I didn't really care. I can live without movies and I can live without gaming, especially because I have my old games that I love and enjoy and have fun with. But I still don't want the same thing to happen to gaming.